What's good, YouTube? Okay, so I know it's been almost a month since my last Ocarina of Time video. I apologize it has taken so long to record this and put this together. It is roughly an hour's worth of footage that was done in 30-second increment clips on my Switch, and that would have not normally taken me more than a week or two to get through. However, I finished recording this, did a different video idea that I haven't uploaded yet because I am not finished with that either. Getting the footage for it is for the Resident Evil playthrough. And I also took a trip to Poznan, which for those not trekking, Poznan's a city in Poland. It is a very beautiful city. It was definitely very fun. It was my first time riding in a train. For those who've ridden in a train, I'm sure this is probably something you've all been familiar with, but when the train's going the opposite direction than where your seat is facing, it's very nauseating to look out the window. But other than that, trains are really nice to ride on. Or ride in, excuse me. Because riding on a train and riding in a train are two different things. I couldn't help but think about like the Harry Potter films, because I associate trains with that, and then of course Thomas the train, or Thomas the Tank Engine. Speaking of trains and whatnot, and of course, now that we're playing a Zelda, Zelda video, well, a Zelda game that is in a video format, you guys get the idea. It reminds me of my buddy Brody, so he loves Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask a lot, although his favorite Zelda games that I'm tracking are Spirit Tracks, because he loves trains and loves Zelda, which is typically the first game to come to mind if you like those two subjects. But in his free time, whenever he does play Zelda, because he's played these 3D ones so much, he does randomizers all the time. I thought about picking up that up as a series, but I'm probably not going to do that for a while because it requires PC, or for me to get it on my Wii or some other modded console. If my voice sounds different, by the way, it is that I am a little stuffed up from all the fucking dust in my living space. But I'm fine other than that. There's going to be a lot of bomb hovers in this video, as you guys can already see. Right here is the first of many bomb hover chains. I already did the pleasure of speeding up the second one. Not the second one, the third one. Because I have to do this bomb chain hover in the actual temple itself to dodge having to do out-of-bound clips, which would have been significantly harder to pull off. To skip the red ice walls. But that bomb hover took forever, right? And then I ran out of bombs afterwards. But the problem is, in order to get the silver rupee that's in that room, I have to jump off the platform I bomb hovered to, and would have had to bomb hover a second time. So I spared us having to watch the same thing twice by speeding that up by like 5 times later on. finding the right spot on this mountain took a minute. So what we're going to do here is we're going to jump off the mountain, clipping through the collision, and then we're going to land on the loading area. Well, we're actually going to load it. We're actually going to land on the entrance to the But yeah, this is now the third time I've traveled up the mountain. Arguably, out of all the adult sections as Young Link series, this one is probably by far the easiest. However, it's kind of strange that I did it after doing the water temple, considering you do this section to unlock the water temple. However, you couldn't enter the water temple normally anyway as child, even if you had the Serenity of Water. So at the time, I wanted to knock that one out first. But I was looking for things to do, and I thought about jumping over to do Adult Link tackling the Young Link section. So like have Adult Link do Deku Tree, the Dongo's Cavern, and Jabu Jabu. But getting into Jabu Jabu's loading zone as adult is way above my level of skill at this game. And for some reason, doing the Door of Time skip is just absolutely fucking ridiculous for me. It's a super simple trick to do, but clipping through two different collision points is always something I've struggled with out of all the glitches that I can do. Hovering in this game's not hard for me, but doing that is. And so, with that being said, I just figured I would do what I could as a Young Link before trying to progress. And I think on a different profile, I'm going to be tackling those temples as Adult Link. Because on the profile I'm planning on in this video, I already did all the temples, except for Spirit, which is also doable exclusively as Young Link. However, I'm probably not going to do that, because in order to do that, you have to use what's called SRM, Stale Reference Manipulation, which is an arbitrary code execution, where you pretty much code the game by doing a series of actions in the game to manipulate the response the game gives you. And if you do this, there's a way to get the mirror shield, because you activate a certain line of number code by doing certain things, and the game just gives you the mirror shield and has it equipped. But since you're not supposed to be able to hold this as Child Link, it's invisible. But it's usable. Doing that, you can go into the Spirit Temple as Child and beat it. I'll probably link a video of ZFG doing that, because it's way above my level. But even the video that he shows doing that in, it's like tool assisted. It's like a low tab. I spent a while in this room getting the right spot to bomb hover from it, as you'll see shortly. Honestly, I did this without looking up a guide on how to do it first to see if I could just figure it out. Which is actually why I found out that you could clip through the red things later. Like, I had an idea you probably could, but I got confirmation on that when I looked up how to do this after I already beat it. Because I was actually looking up a guide so I could figure out where the gold sculptures were. Because I ended up finding one, but I knew there was two. And after I beat the actual temple itself, I went back to go look for that, as you'll see way late in the video. But I tried this method, but the issue is, even though the spacing is probably big enough to initiate a hover, when the bombs are closer together, the window of when you have to flip to hover is a lot more narrow, and so it's just a lot harder to do. So eventually, I ended up just giving up and went to the other side of the wall, which would take a lot more bombs to use, which is why I ended up having to leave and come back. But it's a way more doable set of bomb hovers than this. As you can see from what I was talking about earlier, coming up, how I'm already hovered up here, the bombs were a lot farther apart when I was doing it here, which allowed me to get into the window of opportunity that actually starts to hover for you. What's nice about the boomerang whenever you're bomb hovering is that, as you can see, like, it gets real hard whenever you can't see Link's feet, which we'll see coming up here later. But if you throw the boomerang the camera follows the boomerang and then recenters on you, but you can see all of yourself. So you can see young Link head to toe, which allows you to get a better idea of how to bomb hover. Because you can actually see the bomb ticking and hear it too. So that's what I did here. For a minute there, I wanted to try and look cool and do the what's it called, slingshot bomb hover, but that's way too advanced for me. As you can see, I failed epically. But yeah, this honestly is what took majority of the time to get through this temple. What's nice though is that unlike the silver rupees in the Gerudo training ground, these don't reload whenever you leave the area. So once you collect them, you collect them. And if you ever do any of these challenges, I strongly suggest that you have Feroz Wind, because it will be a lifesaver. Whenever you end up finding that you don't have enough resources or whatever, you can put Feroz Wind down, leave, and come back. If you enter any... Because the hardest part about doing some of these temples is actually entering them, because they're not supposed to be accessible as child. So if you put, say, Feroz Wind in any temple, you're not supposed to reach as adult. And then you need to get back into that temple. Oh, excuse me. You're not supposed to reach as a child. But you need to get back in because you had to leave for some reason. Putting Feroz Wind down means you can just go inside the Deku Tree or any other normal temple that young Link is supposed to be able to enter, and just warp back to whatever section you're in. Something I could do for another content of this game is for this game. Another set of another video that I can use for content regarding this game. There you go. That's how you say that. Is I could do the Shadow Temple again as young Link, but this time around not have the Lens of Truth. But that would make the run very similar to the other two videos. The only difference is I don't have the Lens of Truth. I could also attempt to do it without Dense Fire as well, because there is a room that requires Dense Fire to enter, and then there's another room that requires Dense Fire to get the boss key, but if you get hit while the walls push you, you can clip through them. So I could do that, see, to prove it's doable to do the Shadow Temple as young Link without the Lens of Truth or Dense Fire. Another thing I have in mind for this game, but it won't come out for a while, is bombless Dodongo's Cavern. So, the way that I entered this earlier, yeah, it would require bombs to get, but into here. But if I come in here and get blue fire first, and then I go get a bunch of bomb chews, it would be way more than doable to do what's it called, Dodongo's Cavern, without using bombs in the actual like bombs out of the bomb bag, out of the what's it called, or inside the Dodongo's Cavern, because the what's it called, bomb flowers don't count towards the bombless run. And if they did, again, I could use blue fire and bomb shoes. Only reason I'm postponing that is that I'd have to start a new profile all over again just to get to this part of the game, so I could enter and then go do the Dodongo's Cavern. Plus, to open the actual Dodongo skeleton in that requires a very specific bomb shoe placement, which isn't necessarily hard, but it's tedious, just like the one in the Shadow Temple is. So that's something that down the road I'm going to be doing. Now that we're looking at the ice level though, I do understand that the last Majora's Mask video I did was the ice temple, Snowhead temple. I do plan to do more Majora's Mask content down the line. An idea that I've had is swordless Stone Tower Temple, which would be easy on the 3DS version, because in that you could grab the 2 flying centipede looking things with the Giant's Mask, but that's not a feature in the N64 version. The Giant's Mask just makes you big. It doesn't give you the ability to grab things. So doing that swordless would be hard because you would have to have the bomb mask. But I got that idea because I was playing around thinking about doing the Stone Tower Temple before Woodball. And then I got my sword stolen on one of my profiles. The good news about being right by Lake Hylia here is that there's all these plants and whatnot, so it's really easy to farm bombs whenever you run out. What I'm talking about when it comes to teleporting from one temple to another one using Pharaoh's Wind. I find this really funny because we're holding an invisible weapon while she's talking to us. Because the game, weirdly enough, the game has coding to use the hammer as child, but does not have coding to make it visually seeable. It does have a model. What's really interesting is fighting adult enemies with child-link items. Some of them are actually significantly easier. Like these guys are a little bit easier because you have more long-range options. Because the boomerang's a thing. And then what's super easy though when it comes to the boomerang is the Gerudo guards from the Gerudo Fortress area. Those guys were like 5 times easier using the boomerang on them. And then, of course, you can one-cycle Phantom Ganon using the boomerang. It is very implied by some of the leftover things in this game that a lot of these areas were originally intended to be done with child. But what's more interesting is that if you do your research in Majora's Mask, there is supposed to be Adult Link as a wearable item, where you would put a mask on and become adult. This was scrapped pretty late into the cycle, though. Gosh, looking at these bats are reminding me of when I did the Ocarina of Time mod off Ultimate Trial, and I kept dying to these ice bats. And they're not any less annoying in the Mario series either. Like, I just got done recording some challenge runs for Mario Galaxy, and 2 of which were in an ice level. Well, Freeze Flame Galaxy. The first one was in the actual ice section, and I kept getting hit by those ice bats. And they freeze you in that game too, and they function the exact same. Honestly, I'm pretty sure they originated in this game, and then Nintendo just went, that was a good Zelda concept, let's add it to Mario Bros. But nonetheless, they're extremely annoying in both this game and that game. Again, more silver rupees to collect and more annoying bats that freeze you. But, moving along, this is a room with one of the gold Skulltulas. And then there's another one that I ended up having to get after doing the iron boots. But the goal of this video isn't just to beat the temple, it's also to get all the collectibles that are feasible as child, which the heart piece, the compass, the map, and then both gold Skulltulas are feasible to get with child. This jump was pretty tricky. The diagonal angle of it reminded me of a video I did like a year or so ago when I was in the water temple. There's a diagonal jump you have to make if you're trying to do that temple before doing the other ones. Although that one was significantly harder than this jump. Once again, using blue fire, our magical item, to get the last silver rupee in this room. So an interesting property of how these works is that when you grab the medallion, that's when it registers to deload the enemy permanently. But if you leave the loading zone before the medallion is fully in your grasp, but you collect it at the same time as leaving the loading zone for the room, it will respawn the gold Skulltula despite the fact you already grabbed the token. But this is unfeasible to do because you don't have enough time to do it in any area in this game except a grotto that's inside the Hyrule Castle little plateau that you use to sneak in, where you wake up what's her name's dad, Malon's dad, with the chicken. That area has a grotto by a tree that, using the Song of Storms, you can summon it or open it, and you go in this little hole that you opened. And then if you kill the gold Skulltula, grab the token at the same time that you look up at the light, you could be just fast enough to exit the loading zone of the area and still collect the token. Doing this allows you to get unlimited tokens. Now, this isn't really useful early on in the game, but if you're wanting a cheap way to 100% getting the tokens, it's useful for that. Or just an easy way to get more money in your wallet so you can buy more expensive items in bulk. I'll probably make a tutorial on how to do that later, but that's a down the road thing. But if you look up Infinite Skulltula glitch, you'll find it on YouTube. What's really interesting to note about this section here is that after you grab the iron boots, you're supposed to have a whole cutscene with Sheik play, but that does not happen. So now let's go get the heart piece and the other gold Skulltula. Try as we may, we will not be able to open that door as child. Now, this does conclude the actual running of the temple, but since the cutscene doesn't actually happen as child, we're gonna have some fun editing, and we're gonna see if we can recreate what it would look like if it did happen as child. At the end of this clip. And there you have it, guys. Totally legit cutscene in the game. Makes sense that the trigger only happens as an adult, though. Thanks for watching.